we're moving on to Scream 3 and Cotton and that opening kill, I kind of liked that they chose for him to be the opening kill. It was kind of similar. You know, the first two, they had like big stars and you wouldn't think they would kill them. Here,
but he was like a big,
like
he was a big
established
character. Yeah, that's, so it made it more unique. That's true, actually. And it was probably more shocking because every other opening kill was, yes, a big celebrity, but they weren't big to the series. Like, they were just unknown characters that we had never really seen in the series before. So for them to pick him was interesting, but I was kind of sad. And I was surprised because, again, I thought he survived the first two movies, even though he wasn't really in the first one a lot, but he was such a big part of the second one. I'm like, okay, he's going to become an established character now. But nope, I was wrong. They fuck with your expectations so much.
I did love what they did with him, though, as a character, because he also did have kind of the same ego as Gale, that they show that
he was like a fame whore.
Yeah, and they show that he's like, I said he's like, it's like a Jerry Springer, Dr. Phil kind of show.
What's it called?
100% Cotton.
That's so dumb. His name, can we just talk about that for a second, too? It's
Cotton
so
Weary.
Like, yeah, Cotton Weary. Like, I don't know if, I see names all the time. I work in a doctor's office that's very, very big. We see a lot of patients. I've seen some weird names in my life, but I don't ever think I've seen somebody named Cotton. Why would you do that to your child? But anyway.
I know. It seems like such a weird name, but then I've seen these movies so much, I kind of accept it as like, oh yeah, that's name.
That's just his name. Yeah, that's a name. No, and it sounds good together. Like, you know how we always got to go back to Resident Evil. It's just our thing. But how we always say, like, all the Resident Evil characters, the main characters, all have really good names. They just flow together. Like Rebecca Chambers, I always love that one. Claire Redfield. Like, right. I just love Jill Valentine.
Yeah, I think
so
Scream.
I do think Cotton Weary does sound cool. Like, it
Scream,
flows, but
yeah,
it's
Scream
weird.
has some. It is a weird name, but Scream has some examples of that too beyond him, like
Gale
really
Weathers.
strong name, Gale Weathers.
Yeah, I like that.
Sidney Prescott.
Oh yeah, Prescott, I like that too. And what's Dewey's full name?
Dwight Riley.
Oh yeah, that one's pretty good too.
Yeah. Gale Weathers. I think in Scream 1 she even makes a joke of, like, I think in Scream 1 Dewey says he said like, oh, that's a nice name, or something, and she says Gale Weathers sounds like I'm a meteorologist.
Oh yeah, makes fun. That's true though. I love that. So I guess, yeah, if we're gonna go on to the third one, and now that I remember what the opening is, because I remember that very vividly now. Yeah, that was a good way to open that one, because again, it fucked with your expectations, because it's like, oh, they're not gonna kill Cotton off. Maybe, like, I thought that they were just gonna kill his, like, girlfriend off, like the girl that's in his apartment or whatever, or house, whatever the hell it is, I don't remember. But when she gets out of the shower, like, I thought she was just gonna die. He was gonna find her there. You know, that was going to kick off the movie. And I wasn't even sure if Nev Campbell was in this one. So I was like, is Cotton going to take over as, like, the main character because it's opening with him? So I was all types of confused, but which is what I like, because, again, it fucked with my expectations. Yeah. So
I like that opening quite a bit, too. I probably didn't like it as much as the first two, just because those are so well done. This was really well done, too. But I like the choice of choosing him to be the one to be killed, because it is a little surprising.
Yeah.
And even the opening scene, it introduces the whole voice changer thing.
Oh,
because he thinks he's talking to somebody else on the phone, and then his girlfriend thinks that he's on the other side of the door, which makes her, which then makes her think that he's trying to kill her.
Oh yeah, which was interesting.
Hits him in the head with a golf club when he actually.
Oh, I know, it looks really painful. Yeah, he may have survived if it wasn't for that bitch. Knocked him out.
That threw him all off, and then he was off balance when Ghostface was attacking him.
Exactly, it's all her fault that Cotton Weary's dead.
But I liked, again, it's always all about Sidney. I liked even in the opening scene, like, it was on the phone, Ghostface was asking Cotton where Sidney was.
Oh yeah, where Sidney was,
and I highly doubt he would have any idea where she was. She was so isolated in the movie. I think Dewey was the only one that knew where she was.
Oh, this is the one too where she was. Yeah, she literally
lived isolated by herself because of what happened.
Yeah, and she did the phone therapy session.
Yeah,
and she had the cute doggy.
I know. Even though we said a dog that you want to be safe, Sidney, get a meaner dog.
Like a German Shepherd or Doberman.
Like literally when she
they're sweet little dogs.
Literally when she has a nightmare and wakes up and is freaking out, the dog just runs away. So
he's so cute.
Maybe she wanted comfort instead of protection. Who knows? But
that's what those dogs are, like therapy dogs. And at least Ghostface doesn't fucking kill dogs like Michael fucking Myers pisses me off.
Exactly. Yeah, Ghostface has got that on him.
he likes pets. He likes dogs. That's fine.
Yeah. But no, I'm pretty sure it was weird for Ghostface to be calling Cotton. Because, I don't think Cotton would have any idea where she was. I don't even think Gale had any idea where... Yeah, she said that. She had no idea where she was. Only Dewey did, but I think he would have called Dewey.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I liked that, and it was kind of disturbing at the end when he's like, it was a simple game. All you had to tell me where Sidney was, and so it's like, oh, he's
Oh
going after
yeah,
him, kills
yeah.
him, like stabs him right in the forehead, and then
Ooh,
immediately
I
cuts to
know.
the Scream 3 logo.
Uh,
So yeah, and then that shows her isolated and all that. And one of the scenes that I really love in this movie,
hmm
and it kind of just it's character, it makes you feel for Sidney, and she sort of is explaining why she's out there by herself. It's the scene with her dad, which I thought it was cool to bring him back for a scene because
Oh
from the
yeah, because
first movie
it was the same
it was the
actor,
same
obviously, right?
actor,
Yeah.
yeah. But in the scene where he said he was, 'cause I think he had just bought her groceries and bought her groceries or brought her them,
Oh.
and he was saying like, I'm worried about you, kid, and you don't see anybody. The only people you
Yeah.
talk to don't even know your real name, and
Oh
it's like
yeah.
it's as if you don't exist. And then she says like, "That's the idea. Psychos can't kill what they can't find." That was a great scene because it showed you just how damaged she was from
Yeah,
the
it like
movies.
yeah, which again I do find is unique to the Scream movies that they're I mean, I do like how in the Halloweens, every single one that Jamie Lee Curtis does appear in, she's obviously scarred from the events because especially
Right,
in the new one where she's just very like
right.
psychotically fucked up from it.
I
So I
know.
do like when that transitions throughout because
Right.
then it becomes more than just a slasher movie when the characters are actually really affected by the type of
Yeah.
that's why again people are gonna hate me. I'm bringing up Resident Evil again, but this is why they need to bring Jill Valentine back so we can see the effects of the trauma she's gone through in the last couple years. Sorry, just had to say that because that would be awesome.
No,
But
I agree. Um,
because she's gone through the most out of any character, just saying, and she's still bomb. Um, but no, I really do like that. I do, and her that line, I actually forgot about that till you just mentioned it. That whole conversation with her dad, and when she says that, I was like, wow, that's actually really like effective, and you feel like really bad for her. Like, damn, like that's how
I
she has to
know.
live, like
For
away from
me,
everybody.
yeah, for me, I think that scene and Sydney's in the beginning of the movie, I think I like her PTSD or whatever, I guess you could call it, than like, I think I like it more and I think it's done better than even the two times Laurie is dealing with stuff, which I think
Oh
both
yeah,
of those are both done well in their own way.
yeah,
But I think it was done better with Sydney. I just really like how it shows that the first two movies had affected her. I think that was done really well.
yeah.
And Neve Campbell again obviously did a great job.
Yeah, she's such a fantastic actress. Again, just have to say that because everything, and when she does like her emotional, like again, I always rank or rate, I guess I should say, actresses if they're good or bad on how well they can sell like a crying or emotional scene, and she's
Yeah.
always obviously really really good at that, and her screaming scenes and all that, like she's definitely amazing.
Hmm.
And I was gonna say though, like, isn't it in H2O where Lori becomes like an alcoholic? Totally relatable. If I went through something like that, I would just drink all the time.
Yes.
I like to drink now, and
I think she
but
kind of was in the new one too.
in H2O I kind of like doesn't she just like drink like a whole thing of wine when she's out with like her son or somebody? She's out or
She's
no,
out
she's
with
out
like
with
her
her.
boyfriend,
She
and
has
then
a boy.
like
Yeah,
he goes to the bathroom. I think she might then finish his wine,
yeah,
and
yeah. I
then
love it.
downs her or something. She downs hers, calls the got waiter over, gets another glass, downs that,
Yeah,
and then
that's.
like and then like
Hey, everybody deals with issues differently. I mean, I do think that Sydney's way of going about it is a little more, intelligent because she's not getting drunk and vulnerable to
yeah.
somebody coming to kill her. But I don't know. I had to mention that because that is kind of funny that she just like drinks. I just love it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Um, there was one other scene that I think I liked with Sydney and in her house and her isolation when she was having that dream
Oh, and her
of her
mom.
mom coming.
Yeah, that was kind of scary.
And again, I like just like her dad, they brought that actress back. Even more so, it was impressive because in the first movie, they just showed pictures of her
But they actually were able to, yeah, bring her
at the
back for that scare. That actually
yeah
was a really creepy, like, I know these are technically slasher movies and they're more about like the, psycho killer, but that was actually kind of an eerie, creepy moment for when I was like, whoa, that's actually really creepy. Like because she was
mhm.
like outside her window, right? And she was like
Yeah.
talking to her and she said something about like, I forget actually what she did say to her.
She was saying like you're just like me or whatever, something like.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I remember.
And then she like falls below the window, and then Ghostface pops up, and then it was a
It
nightmare
was
that
it was a
Sydney woke
dream,
up
yeah.
from. I was
Which
always
again shows
confused.
how, traumatized she was.
Yeah, I used to be confused by that scene when I was younger. Like, for some reason, I thought like, well, where'd Ghostface go? Like, I didn't understand that it was a dream at
Oh, that
first.
it was a
But when I
dream.
was when I was really young, I didn't understand it.
Oh.
But but yeah, no, I really like the way they dealt with Sidney in this movie. In the beginning, all being isolated, and as a result, some people don't like this, and I think I told you a little bit ago that generally what people think of this
Oh
one
yeah.
in particular,
Oh yeah, you
um,
said that this one was like
the
the one.
least popular.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Why?
I can explain that, I guess, because I guess it kind of boils down to people thought like by this point, the the movie it wasn't as clever or as the other ones, to where it sort
Uh,
of became what it was parodying or satiring, as opposed
okay.
to being the satire. They felt like it lost something, like it wasn't as smart or sharp. It was just became the cliche thing it was kind of making fun of,
Well, I
which
can sort of see that to a certain degree just
I
because,
can in comparing it to the other ones. I think the other ones are
yeah.
more clever in some ways.
But it's also like I think I said something to you about like how many times can they, and even though don't get me wrong, because I love consistency, I like characters to return. There's nothing worse than when you watch a sequel or something and it's just all different characters or whatever. I mean, sometimes it works out like Halloween, like when the fourth Halloween came around and it was actually really good with the characters or whatever, and it still had
Yeah,
Donald Pleasance. So, but like I hate when characters change. So I'm not trying to, you know, contradict myself in what I like in movies and whatever series. But I was thinking by the third movie, how many more people could possibly hate Sidney and want her dead? Like how many
I
times are they
know.
gonna kind of show her, and even though I think it still worked really well, I kind of can understand where those people are
Right.
coming from at least
Well,
slightly.
it was also kind of going off of that. This was another thing that I've read that people kind of thought was kind of cliche and didn't work. I liked it. I didn't have a problem with it.
Hmm.
But some people thought that like you just said, like how many times it's going to happen to Sidney.
Yeah.
Some people thought that the reveal that Roman, the director, was
Oh
her
yeah.
half brother. Some people thought that was like a little bit of like a soap opera reveal. But then at the same time, I don't ever hear any criticisms towards Mrs. Loomis popping out of nowhere and being like, "I'm the mother," and
That's
whatever.
true though. Yeah.
It's kind of a similar thing, but I
Right.
don't ever hear criticism to Mrs.
Maybe
Loomis.
because it
Maybe
was just
people
done
like
a
her
little.
better. It
Yeah, I
was,
think it was
yeah,
done a little better. Like she's definitely a
yeah,
more interesting
Ghostface.
Ghostface reveal, yeah, than I think he actually, to me personally, and again we're gonna do all our final thoughts on all four of the movies, but I'm just
Mhm.
gonna say I think he was the least effective
Effective. Yeah,
Roman, yeah,
Roman.
like reveal. Like I didn't really like. I mean, I still like the third movie. Don't get me wrong. I'm definitely not agreeing with those people
Right,
100% and say, but I definitely feel like it was the least effective for
right.
me.
Yeah, no, I can see that. I've always liked all the sequels. I never disliked Scream 3 in particular,
Right.
but I can see where they're coming from, but at the same time, it doesn't bother me.
Right. Right.
I think it always goes back for me. It always goes back to that line in Scream 4, and I pointed it out. It was when Kristen Bell and Anna Paquin. Anna Paquin was the one, she played Rogue in the X-Men movies. It was that
Oh
scene
yeah.
when Kristen Bell stabbed her in the stomach.
Yeah.
Um, when I hear people criticizing Scream 3, I get it. It has problems. Criticize it. But for me, I think you can see the problems and still try to enjoy it. Because
Yeah.
what Kristen Bell's character says, like, when the other character's criticizing the movie and she's just like, now shut the fuck up and watch the movie. That's how I kind of feel when people criticize Scream 3. It's like, yeah, it has its problems. It's not as good as some of the other ones, but
Yeah.
just, you know, I enjoy
Enjoy
it
it for
for
what
what
it
it
is.
is. I
Yeah.
enjoy the continuation of Sidney, Gale, and Dewey stories.
Right.
So for me, I'm just like, just shut up and watch it.
Yeah.
Or don't watch it if you don't want to. But for
Yeah.
me, I'm invested because of those characters. So that other stuff, while maybe
Doesn't really.
cliche, doesn't
Yeah.
really bother me.
No, I can completely say I 100% agree with that. Like it would never be something like even if I grew up with the Scream movies, I would never hate the third one. Like I would definitely see where those people are coming from. Even I myself was like, okay, how many times are
It's
they gonna do
also
this? But
right,
it would not be enough to fucking like bother me like fucking Halloween
right.
Resurrection or whatever.
There was one other thing, and but I'll say this, and then that can lead us into Gale and Dewey in this movie. Who there's a lot of things I want to mention with them because they're great in this movie.
Oh yeah.
Their chemistry, because they're in more of it, because Sydney is in less of it. They gave them more to do. Um, but one of the other things people said is like they feel like maybe the whole mystery and the solving of it with Sidney, Gale, and even Jennifer, if you remember her, the actress who plays Gale, who is
Oh,
also great.
yeah, I love her. Yeah.
Best new character in this movie. And
Yes.
that's one thing, people actually really do love her. As far as people that don't like the
Really?
movie, they do like her, and a lot of people feel like, oh, I wish she hadn't have been killed because she was so fun.
Yeah, I did. I liked the whole thing with her and
But
Gale.
some
That was so
people,
funny.
one criticism some people said is they felt like by this point with those three and how they're solving the mystery and like they're a little goofy, that it became like Scooby Doo. Like it's Scooby Doo mystery. So,
That's actually really funny. And because I can see it, because like at the end of Scooby Doo, it's always them pulling like a mask off to see who the real person. That is actually really funny.
I guess I kind of want to start with her just because she is so great. So you mentioned her, Jennifer, and I
Oh my
told you her
God.
name's supposed to be Jennifer Jolie because they
Oh, for like
took first
yeah.
names and last names of celebrities and put them together, and then
Hey,
we were
that's
saying,
weird.
yeah, we were saying, well, that's yeah, and this was before it was Jennifer Aniston, Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie, all of that. It was before that,
It's all
and
Scream
they
Three's
smashed
fault.
them exactly, and they smashed their names together, and yeah, Scream 3 put it in the universe, and then it happened, and
Yeah, poor
then
Jennifer Aniston. She should sue him. So like I'm scared.
I even said, I even said, there's even a line that when Gale meets Jennifer, and she says to her, "Oh, I'm sorry things didn't work out with Brad Pitt." So,
Yeah, that's so weird. That's almost like a weird, eerie, like conspiracy theory thing.
right.
Like,
I could
like
see
that
if it
they
was
saw into the
after that
future.
happened,
That
but
would
I
make,
think that
but
would
that
have
would be
been
kind of a
it would
dick
have
move.
been yeah, it would have
Yeah.
been me, especially because Courtney Cox is friends with Jennifer Aniston. I don't think they would have done
Yeah,
that.
I don't. I think she would have if that had been in the script. I feel like she would have said something because Jennifer
Yeah.
Aniston, like side note, took that really hard, and I felt so fucking
Mhm.
bad for her. Like, why would you cheat on Jennifer Aniston? Brad Pitt, you're an idiot. But anyway,
Exactly.
so yeah, but
Yeah,
that
that
is
was
so
very
weird.
eerie.
I know. I remember when you told me this was all before that. Like, I was like, oh my god, what?
Um, but on Jennifer in this movie, I think she's great. She's hilarious. She's so much fun. There's so many moments with her. I love her chemistry with Gale
I
that they just
know.
don't like each other.
And is it like she like Gale gets kind of like jealous with her with
Yeah,
Dewey? I love that.
with-
And they were
when
actually married at the time, right?
they
Courtney Cox and
were
David Arquette.
they
Yeah.
were there was just one moment with Gale and Dewey and the whole jealousy with Jennifer. I love when they went to Jennifer's house and that's where Gale found out that they found out that Ghostface was killing the people in the order of the script
Oh, yeah,
of
I
the
remember that.
movie, but there was multiple scripts, so they didn't know which one the killer was reading. But I guess
Right.
Gale gets killed next in the script, and then she got all pissed off. That's why Jennifer was nervous because she plays Gale. She was going to get killed next. And then I love the end of that scene when Gale and Dewey leave her house, and Jennifer walks over to her security guard and just sort of leaps into his arms.
Oh yeah, yeah. She's so like dramatic. I do. I love that. And her, I don't know. Do you know the actress's name that plays her?
Yeah, it's Parker Posey. She's like a
Yeah,
character actor.
she
And
was so good. Oh my
And it
god.
was even like when they first came in and she was all freaking out about it and she was smoking a cigarette and she was waving it at Gale and she was just like, you, like I'm ever going to win an award playing
Like
you.
you, yeah, I love that.
But no,
Oh my god.
when Gale and Dewey went outside the house and Gale found out that Dewey lived with her like in a trailer next to the
Oh
house. And I
yeah,
love Gale realizes that and she's just like so offended and she's
yeah,
like, you live here with her?
yeah. The jealousy thing is so great. Oh my god. I
I
love that
know.
whole thing. And then when you told me they were actually married in real life, I'm like, that is even funnier just because it just adds to the chemistry. Oh my god. I
Yeah.
love that.
There was another. So many Jennifer lines. I want to try to mention a couple of them. There was one where when the police came and took Roman away because they suspected him because they suspected him for some reason, and
Right.
then leaving and Jennifer was just like, "Wow, Roman, remind me never to sleep with him again."
Oh yeah. Oh my god, see, and these little one-liners, like, and these all throughout all the Scream movies, like, there's always like a character, there's always some comic relief, there's always these little lines thrown in,
Yeah,
but they're never like, because sometimes that could be perceived as like, oh, that's just too cheesy, stupid, like, and it cheapens the character, but like, I feel like
right,
it's so well written that even the
right.
lines like it makes you just like them even more. Like she is so funny.
She
She could have been
is
a really bad
there.
character, but she was done so well and played so well,
She
so
was, yeah. There
she
was even
worked.
another moment in that scene when it was another moment which made it funny because she's playing Gale, so Courtney Cox, and then she was like saying to Roman, like, "Oh God, it's not the end of the world, like that the movie's gonna shut down," and
Oh yeah.
said to her, "That's so easy for you to say. You can always go back to must see TV." And I told you that that's like That's the
What she
block
does.
that Friends aired on.
Oh yeah.
And she, remember, she like is so offended by it. She like gasps.
Yeah, her reaction to things is so funny. Oh my god.
Oh, but I could
Um,
go on and on her forever.
yeah,
She's
she's great.
amazing when she punches Dewey after the house blows up, and then
Oh
Gale
yeah.
punches her.
Yeah, I love that whole thing. Oh my god, that was great. Oh my god,
Uh,
we should talk a second about because we said we were gonna mention it, Gale's fucking hair though, and how horrible
yeah,
it
that's
looks.
a perfect way to segue into Gale, I guess. That was awful. It like ruined this, and I even like I saw a tweet that's what I sent to you before we watched Scream
Oh
3, and it
yeah,
was like the scariest thing, the most
in
scariest
Scream
thing in the
3.
whole Scream franchise is
Yeah.
Courtney Cox's bangs in Scream 3.
Oh my god, I know. I don't know what made her make that choice. I don't know if that was just like bangs were like a thing at that time, which I think they were, but like I don't know, they looked awful. And she's such a pretty woman in general that like I was just like,
Yeah,
why would you make a choice like that?
I
Again, that's like
know.
a dumb thing to talk about, but it really did kind of like it
It's
was hard not to notice it in like every
I
scene
told
she's in.
you, but no, but I told you when we were watching it that like my mom doesn't even like she likes Stephen King. She likes has seen Stephen King movies and things like that. But I always remember when I
Right.
was younger, she would even maybe she saw me watching it or something, and she
And
saw
she's
Courtney Cox and she knew her from Friends, and she always would be like, "Oh, she looks awful."
yeah, I remember you saying. I think anybody that sees her, even if you're just glimpsing her and you're not sitting down and watching the movie, would probably agree with that. That sounds really mean. I
Yeah,
hate to talk trash about her, but
it's
it
the
was a bad choice.
90s or it was
It was a
2000s, so
bad
technically,
90s choice. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I
Especially because
like,
we went from the second movie where she was so pretty with her red streaks and she looked all like
yeah.
sassy, which goes with her character, and then she went to that. I'm like, no, no, girl, that just does not work. Anyway.
But no, I think I like Gale in this movie too. I think you disagreed because I mentioned we were watching it that some people felt like, when we were watching Scream 4, I mentioned that some people also felt like she lost some of her, she wasn't as sharp or like,
Bitchy.
yeah, which I
No,
guess you could cop out to like character development at this point. She sort of softened a little bit.
that's
Not,
how
but
I saw it. I
yeah,
would
and
never
she
have
still
seen it
had
as
some of it, like with her
exactly.
banter with Jennifer.
Yeah, it wasn't complete. Like that's why I don't get why people said that because I think, and I just saw it as a maturing, arc for the character. Like, oh, maybe she's
Yeah.
not as like she still definitely has her bitchy Gale moments, which that's part of her personality and her
And she still
character.
has
But
her ego because when she was talking to Dewey, like they talk about how they tried to date and it didn't work, and then she left to go do this TV job, so she still had her ego about her.
yeah, so I don't think, and I just always I would just assume that it's character development and that being with Dewey also probably helps to sort of like I said bring her down from that at least a little bit. But she still has
Yeah.
moments where she goes back up to it because that's just how she is. But I think especially because the first movie she's not with Dewey yet. She's not like in love. She doesn't have this
Hmm.
relationship. She's just focused on her career and getting the scoop and getting anything that she can. So I actually like seeing that she changes a little bit throughout the movies and lessens that bitchiness. Again, not completely because she wouldn't be the character if she didn't have that, but I do like
Right.
how it does kind of go down a little bit because now she's with Dewey and she's actually in love and she actually
Yeah.
does have a heart despite her being such a bitch sometimes. So
Although I
I
will
like that.
say, when we get to Scream 4, I do want to talk about her sort of story and arc in that because I love in that she's she even is acting more like Scream 1 Gale because she's so frustrated and like she's stuck in the town and whatever. Uh, but talk about
Yeah.
that when we get to her in that. But no, I like her in this movie, and I like Dewey in this movie. I think they're all great. I think the
Yeah.
dynamic of Dewey, Gale, and Jennifer is just great.
I know. I
And
love
that
it.
would be the big thing I want to talk about with them, and we talked about it mostly.
Yeah.
And then of
That's like the
course
highlight of the third movie
it
is them
really
three.
really is. Beside on Gale and Dewey, I guess the last thing it was kind of a nice moment and arc for ending for those characters because it's the trilogy and it's the end that he like proposed to her at the end of the movie.
I know, that's so cute. I do love their relationship because again,
And
I
it
just
was
love that they balance each other because he's so like
yeah.
nice and good and like pure-hearted and always wants to do the right thing and everything and she's like always just out for herself. So them finding each other, I think they just definitely balance. I love that. Their whole relationship
And
is so great.
I like it was kind of a sweet way how he tried to do it. Like he gave her a copy of her book and asked her to sign it, but then
Oh
the ring
yeah.
is inside the book.
Yeah, that is so sweet. Oh, they're so cute. I ship them.
Gooey, ship
Gooey.
Gooey.
Yeah, that's my new. That's gonna be. Oh my god, I love that.
I know.
I'm gonna actually start using that.
So we talked a little bit about Randy's cameo. I really liked them finding a way to include him again.
I know, I did not expect that. I was like, what? Oh my God, this is so awesome. And I love, again, that he talks about the stereotypes and cliches and all the stuff of
Trilogies.
trilogies. Because that's why, again, they definitely fucked with my head, because I really thought that this was the final movie with the three of them, being
Yeah.
main characters. Especially, I did not expect Nev Campbell to come back in the fourth one. I had heard some stuff about the fourth one being kind of different, so I just expected it to just not include anybody. So I think Randy's little cameo and his explanation sort of made me
Yeah.
believe that even more, because he was just like,
I I think my favorite thing he said, I love when he said that, like, it's the final act, even the main character can die, and he's like, this means you,
yeah,
Sid, I'm sorry.
yeah,
Which maybe was setting it up to maybe trying to think that maybe she could have been killed at the end.
right. Which is kind of what I didn't think. Here's the thing, I can't really like say I thought she was gonna die, because I just thought but I thought, I did think in my head that maybe Dewey or Gale would. I didn't ever suspect that Sidney would die, just because I don't know, she just is the final girl, so like I wouldn't have thought that. But I did not seriously think she was gonna. I thought she was gonna survive the third movie, and then Nev Campbell was gonna walk away from Scream, and she was not gonna
Right.
come back for the fourth. So that was
Yeah.
definitely a shock. When we get into the fourth, we can talk about it. But so, and again, I think Randy's whole explanation of that, like, I just thought, okay, it's a trilogy of her story, and then the fourth one's gonna be about some other random story. And I knew Emma Roberts was in the fourth one. I did know some of the actors, so I just thought
Yeah.
she was gonna be like the new Sidney, like she was gonna be. Which, boy, was I fucking wrong. But we'll talk about that.
Yeah, there's more I have to talk about that too. I love how they set certain things up in Scream 4 only to not do what you thought they would do. I Even if people thought it was soap opera, I did kind of like Roman coming in, and like I like when the story gets bigger, even if it
Right.
maybe gets muddier. When he was sort of saying that he was the one who influenced Billy and Stu and showed them how to do this, and he set everything in motion.
Yeah, that is interesting that
Well,
it
I
just
guess
keeps adding to
Maureen,
the plot.
Sidney's mom, it all stems from her.
See, but adding stuff like that to the plot could have made it super stupid. It could have been like, that's dumb. Why would, like, but
Mhm.
I for some reason with these movies it really really works. I think because the writing was
Right.
so good.
I
Because
think
I feel at first I was like, I was thinking like, really, okay, he knew Billy and Stu back then. But then, like, as it all started to come together, I'm like, wait, this is actually really interesting. And it did kind of remind me. I do have to say this. I don't know if I said this while you and I were watching it. The whole thing of them being siblings did kind of remind me of Michael and Laurie. Michael
right.
Myers and
Oh
Laurie.
yeah,
It's true.
that's true. That's another Halloween reference they probably.
Threw in there, yeah.
Um, but I will say with him, we haven't like Sydney has so much tragic shit put upon her and
Right.
everything, but the things that this movie sort of explained with Sydney's mom, it's like, wow, she
Oh
like
yeah.
when like because they kept finding the pictures of her
Right.
younger at
Oh
every
yeah.
murder, and they were trying to figure out why,
Right.
and they find out that, and the way they find it out is Carrie Fisher's cameo. I know you were surprised
Oh
by
my
that.
God, we got to talk about. Yes, that was awesome. I don't even like Star Wars, and I've never
Me
even
neither.
honestly like ever been like a big fan of really anything Carrie Fisher's done. I know it sounds awful, but like as I just that was just really shocking to see such a big name, and I love that they reference
I
Princess
know
Leia.
she said Gale and Jennifer look at her and they're like, "Hey, are you?" And she's like, "No," like all annoyed.
Yeah.
And she said she
No.
gets it all the time. And she said, "I auditioned for Princess Leia, but you know who got it? The one who
Slept with the
slept with
director.
George Lucas."
Yeah, yeah, Jordan, yeah, it's so funny. Oh my God. So I like that she literally can like poke fun at herself. And I've always heard Carrie Fisher was a really down to earth like
Yeah,
actress, so that proves it right there. That was so funny. That
yeah,
whole
no.
moment. And again, just shows the brilliance of the Scream, like the comic relief bits that they have throughout the series is so great. So that was
Oh, and
that
I
was
never
a
even
huge
thought
shock.
about that before. Like having Carrie Fisher have a cameo was kind of like this is a movie about talking about trilogies, and Star Wars was originally a
Oh
trilogy.
yeah, trilogy with the ones that she was in anyway, like the
Yeah.
original ones. Yeah, so that's interesting. Maybe I mean that's probably exactly why they did it.
Well, I
But see,
think
it's
at
very
that point,
clever.
there was only the original three. Like they hadn't made any other
Oh,
ones,
those they hadn't made those dumb like newer ones.
prequels.
Like yeah, the
Yeah.
prequels that everybody talks shit on. Again, I've never seen that. My sister is a huge Star Wars fan. I just never got into them personally, just not my thing. But I know
No, I
that they're
agree.
classics, so the fact that they got a classic actress that's so big to just be in
Yeah.
this one, and the fact that she was like willing to do it and make fun of herself, like that's really awesome. So Rest in peace, Carrie Fisher. You're awesome.
I know. Yeah. We could have jumped off of that, but I did just want to finish my thought on Sidney's mom, like how it was really messed up, like how they explained like she was an actress since she was younger, and then they find out that like she was treated badly and taken advantage of.
Oh yeah, in
And
Hollywood.
even
Yeah, that was
even
fucked up.
Roman said that like he said they were like in at the end the room Sidney and Roman were in. He said this is the room where they had the party, and he said they fucked her 3 ways from Sunday, so it was just a bunch
Oh
of
my
Hollywood
God.
producers, and I guess that's how she had Roman. But then
Yeah.
it was even more messed up, and how like that would have been pretty scary for her because she never told anybody she was an actress, and then
Right.
Roman said that he tracked her down and found her later,
Yeah.
I guess when Sidney was alive,
Right.
and explained that he was her son. But
And
then
she like turned him away.
she like slammed the door in his face. But
Which
that
is
would
really fucked up, but
it is. But then I'm
get it.
thinking of like you think about what she went through, and she's like, wow, then everyone's gonna find out what happened to me and what I did, and
Yeah, wow, the Scream storyline, now that you're really saying, is really dark, but in a way though
yeah,
that is very interesting and again unique because every other, I don't want to say every other, but a lot of the other slasher movies don't have that much of a in-depth story with, I mean,
yeah,
because that's pretty dark and like tragic. Like she was basically like she either
raped by a bunch of
either raped or was trying to get somewhere, so she slept with all these
yeah,
like, which the whole thing is just like horrible, and the fact that like stuff like that did used to, or probably honestly still does happen even if it's
yeah,
2019 in Hollywood, is like, wow, that's really really dark. And poor Sidney, like she's already got all this fucked up shit, she's already heard all this bad shit about her mom, and then she finds out this. I was just like, that was like a big twist to me, the whole thing with her mom, because I was like, oh my god, what's going to be his motivation now? And again, I love that all the Scream movies were consistent with the motivation was very, you know, they like it was never like, because I always thought, oh, they're gonna get to a point where they're gonna run out of motives of wanting to kill Sidney. Like maybe they're just eventually just gonna be like, oh, I just want to kill you because you're famous, which I guess the fourth one kind of ends up doing that, but we'll talk about
yeah,
that in a minute. But
yeah.
like I really didn't think that they were gonna have all these in-depth motives, like the fact that Billy's mom is the killer in the second one, that was so
Mhm.
unexpected and really really cool. Even if you said like she did kind of go like overly psychotic, but I guess like she lost her son, whatever. But like I don't know, all the motives were really interesting too, and
They were really
that
solid and believable. Like you could understand why they're doing what they're doing.
even though at first when he said he was her brother, I'm like, oh, are they just trying to do a Halloween thing here? Like why is she gonna have this random brother? But the fact that, I don't know, they made it work. Again, it always, even if initially you're like, that's kind of weird, they just somehow always made it work, which I like. Even though I
Yeah.
do think Roman, for me personally, is the weakest of the killers, I
Hmm.
still like the storyline with Sidney and her mom, so it
Yeah.
was interesting.
I know it was really good like layer to the story and the
Yeah.
backstory, everything. Before we move on from Scream 4, there was just a couple
Scream
things I wrote.
3, you keep
Scream
saying.
3. Uh, there's a couple things I wrote down that I know you said you wanted me to remind you to mention because you liked them a lot. It
Oh.
was really just a couple like set pieces. I know you mentioned you kept talking about the classic Hollywood mansion at the end. You said you really liked the
The
whole the mansion they were in at the end of the movie.
Oh my god, yeah, when that, oh, I love that.
There was that, and then there
Was that
was
his house? They were at like
it was
Roman's house or
the
something?
no, it was remember the older guy, the
Oh, the
producer,
producer. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
who I guess was also one of the ones who would have been at the party when Sydney's mom was
Mom was
raped.
there. Yeah, that's fucked up.
But there was that, and then there was another thing you wanted me to remind you of because you thought it was a cool scene to do. It was, I guess her name was Sarah. She was one of the actresses in Stab. And
Oh, she played Sidney, right? She played the role of Sidney?
no, no, she was the blonde one.
Oh, the blonde girl. Okay, yeah, that she was like the
I
dumb
wrote
one.
Jenny McCarthy, I guess is who played her. But I remember you said you liked the scene where she got killed because she was in like surrounded by fake props.
Oh, that kill. Yeah, no, that was awesome.
And then like lines
Yeah,
of ghost face on like a rack.
and then when the real one jumped down, that was actually really effective and creepy. Again, like going back to the sequel when the big final moment is at that like stage, which
Right.
I found really cool. The same thing here, like it's so cool that it was in like a studio with like fake blood around, and the fact that she tried to like she picked up like a fake, obviously fake knife, and she tried to like hit him with it, but it was so flimsy, like it wasn't real, so she has no real weapons.
Mhm.
And the ghost face thing was so cool, all the ghost face all lined up, like that was really cool, and then he actually came down or what
Yeah.
I so that was really awesome. And going back to the mansion or whatever, that was so that was that like weird mansion that had a bunch of like secret like hidden passageways and stuff,
Passageways,
right? And you
yeah.
could go. So that, I think the reason I liked that, not only because it was just a cool looking mansion anyway, and it was like creepy and eerie, but like when we do eventually watch People Under the Stairs, which we're totally gonna
Hmm.
do, it really reminds me a lot of that because there's like weird
Which is
hidden
also Wes
entrances in this
Craven,
house.
isn't it? Is
I
it?
know, yeah, it is. So that's like really cool. I think that might be like, a thing with him that he just
Yeah.
creates these creepy maze-like houses with like secret passageways. But that's exactly like People Under the Stairs. So I just had to throw that out there. But wait, the one that plays Sidney in the movie,
Hmm.
I thought she was gonna be the killer because she was acting kind of weird. So they probably wanted you to think that too,
Yeah.
right?
I
Yeah.
think I mentioned this to you, but I think originally they had wrote her to be the second killer too,
But they
and
ended
then
up
they
not wanting
decided
to.
against it.
I wonder why.
Maybe they wanted to do something different, like you always expect two killers or
And they
something,
just
or
wanted the one.
maybe they
Yeah.
couldn't figure out her motivation or something. I don't
I
know.
think her motivation could have been that she just wanted to please the director so bad and she was so fame hungry. I don't know. It could have been something like
Yeah,
that, I guess. But
she does say at one point, when Gale and Jennifer find her and they're like, we're not safe alone, you have to come with us, and she just said, I didn't fuck that pig,
oh
producer,
yeah,
just
yeah.
to, yeah.
So she
So,
actually could have. She could have actually. It could have worked. But I am kind of glad that they only went with one because it was really different. I was expecting like, oh, who's the second one? But it was kind of cool.
maybe a little unrealistic to like how he did all that himself, but I don't
True.
know. I don't know. But, on the secret passageways, there was one scene that I liked with the mirrors. Remember, Jennifer was behind the mirrors and banged on the
Yeah.
mirror, and
And he
Gale and
couldn't.
Dewey
Yeah,
couldn't see her, but like they saw the mirrors were moving.
and they were like, oh, and then they shot. Didn't he shoot her?
No, I think it looks like that, but if I remember right, he was aiming up, like he was aiming
Oh,
higher. I
okay.
think she just was getting stabbed by Ghostface on the other side, but there
As they
was
were, yeah.
one like small line that I thought was interesting when Jennifer was getting killed by him. She was saying like how earlier she said that she gets killed third in the movie,
Mhm.
and then she was yelling at Ghostface when he was coming at her that you can't kill me, I'm the killer in Stab 3 or whatever. So that was an interesting twist. I guess in Stab 3, Gale was the killer. How we were talking about in Stab
Oh, that is that.
2, they kind of
Yeah.
tricked you. I guess in Stab 3, Gale was the killer.
I kind of honestly expected her to end up being the killer eventually, and I think maybe that's why they make her such a cold-hearted bitch, and that's part of her character because maybe they want you to think, oh, eventually. I really did think one of the main characters was eventually going to be the killer. I was like, they're gonna twist it so hard. Where I'm glad that didn't happen because I like how all three remain solid and remain, the
Yeah.
protagonist. But I did think if any of them, it would have been Gale, and I was like, they're gonna really fuck with my mind if they end up doing that. But I am glad
Yeah.
that they didn't do that. But it's interesting
No,
that Stab did it. Stab had her be the killer.
I know, but then we realized that like how fucked up I guess Hollywood in this is in real life
Mm-hmm.
too, but how they, like
Yeah.
obviously they were shooting Stab 3 in this movie and it never got made obviously because they were all murdered. But
Right.
then we find out in Scream 4 they're all the way up to Stab 7. So
I know.
after the cast gets murdered,
They
decide
did a
to
whole
do it
bunch of
again. They decide to redo Stab 3 after everyone was just murdered.
But I do think that's kind of a statement on how these fucking long running franchises will literally do anything for money. That's why they just keep
Uh-huh.
pumping them out. So that makes sense actually to me. I feel like that
Yeah.
would really happen in real
I
life.
know. I'm starting to hear some thunder, so if that gets picked up, I apologize. But it kind of works with our we're talking about.
With our whole conversation, I can't hear anything, but I hope it's
Um,
thunder, and that'd be perfect.
well, I think I've said everything I need to on Scream 3. There was just one little fun fact that I didn't have not mentioned to you, but it would have been interesting. But I feel like this would have been more soap opera if that people thought Roman was soap opera. Apparently, originally they were going to have Stu return alive, Matthew Lillard,
Really?
as the killer. Because I guess the
That
thinking is
might have
like
been
you didn't
interesting though.
see him die, but you also saw Sidney push one of those giant heavy ass TVs on his head.
Yeah, exactly. You can't really survive that.
But I guess then the reason they said that they changed it because I think Matthew Lillard has said this. They changed it because like he was going to be in prison and he broke out, and they changed it because whatever they were doing with whatever they would have done with Stu's character in Scream 3 was apparently too much. Columbine had just happened. The shooting.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess it evoked that a little bit, so they changed that. But I don't know exactly. They never really were specific with what they were going to do, but I'm kind of glad they didn't do that, just because you get a fucking TV pushed on his face.
That's true, but I think I would have
It
probably
would have been a
preferred that
bigger
because
twist.
yeah, because I honestly, like I said, and again, not that it's bad at all, because I did honestly like all four Scream movies, and we'll
Hmm.
definitely talk about, our ranking and everything at the very end and what our favorites are and all that. But like I will say, all four were very solid. But just for me personally, not even the entire movie. I'm just saying, just the reveal of Roman was kind of like, because at least in comparison to the previous ones, and then even the last one, which we'll talk about in a little bit, I just felt like it was like the most underwhelming reveal. So if it
Right.
had been Stu, I think I would have been like, oh my god, like
And
that would have been
maybe they could have pulled it off too. I don't
with
know exactly what they were.
with the writing skills and how solid all of them were. I feel like it could have worked. So I'm actually kind of disappointed now that you told me that and they didn't do it, because I feel like that would have made like Scream 3 like my favorite, if they, because especially because I just love that the character of Stu anyway. Like we were talking about earlier, he's fantastically played by, what's his name?
Matthew Lloyd.
Yeah, they should have. That would have been so cool. It would have been like a throwback to the first one, and it kind of would have wrapped up, and it would have made me believe even more that Sidney, Dewey, and Gale were not going to appear in the fourth one, because it would have been like, okay, they brought somebody back from the first one, they're wrapping up this entire story with
Right.
Sidney, they're done, and then the fourth one was just going to be something else. So I think that would have been so cool. I'm kind of
Yeah.
sad now.
It would have been
Potential.
interesting to see what they were going to do for sure.
Yeah.